With Christ we stand, rising as one. Stories of redemption in the power of the sun. Every step, every mile, held in His hand. Together forever, with Christ we stand. Lord, I walked through the shadows, carried my shame, searching for answers, calling His name. But in the silence, His mercy broke through. The cross was my freedom, His love made me new. With Christ we stand, rising as one. Stories of redemption in the power of the sun. Every step, every mile, held in His hand. Together forever, with Christ we stand. Oh. Every breath is a gift from above. Every step is a testimony of love. With Christ we stand, rising as one. Stories of redemption in the power of the sun. Every step, every mile.
Oh man, it's been trying. I think we're back. I think we're live. I think we're good. Let's see. YouTube is a little bit behind, and so I have YouTube on the side. I'm trying to view, and I can see all the comments. Hello, everybody. I think I'm back. I think we're live. And I do want to start off by saying I apologize for the last few streams. I haven't acknowledged the chat, but I do want to be respectful to our guests and not interrupt them. Although you guys are having great conversations on the side and great points, so I'm going to try to incorporate some of the questions maybe you guys have or things you say into our conversations and everything. But Sister Wendy, Golden Fern, Brother Sebastian, Brother Rev, Sister Krista Ray, Brother Tyler Woods, good to see you guys. I think we're back up. I've been having issues. I got new internet. I got new upgrades for my laptop. Everything's supposed to be working. So you guys tell me, does it look good? Can you hear us? This is brother. That's it. This is brother Eric. He's very new to our community. He's new to the little season. So you guys don't know him, but it's like, hey, good to have him on. I wanted to hear his perspective because we were chatting on the Discord, and it's very interesting. He's come from where a lot of us have come from, and so it's just awesome to see that. And so, Brother Eric, it's your story, it's your testimony. How you doing today?
I'm good. You can hear me? I'm on screen.
Yep,
I hadn't used it. Okay, great. Yeah, no, we're clear. We don't really know what the heck's going on with this. But yeah, no, I'm good. I hope everyone is as well.
Yeah. Can you guys let us know? Because I have YouTube pulled up, but I don't have the sound because I didn't want it to echo. If you guys could just say, thumbs up or Tyler Wood says we're on mute.
Oh, we're on.
That's what he said. Somehow I gotta. Oh no. Audio 4K, all settings.
Do you see on my screen? There's a microphone, a camera, a chat, and then 3 dots.
Mm-hmm.
Is your microphone not have a dash through it? Because mine doesn't have a dash through it. Does yours have a dash through it?
No, that would be in your muted. But we got Wendy and Rev said we're good.
Okay.
Awesome. Hopefully we're not muted now then. So if you guys missed any of that, it's good to see you guys. I gave a shout out to everybody: Krista Ray, Sebastian, Sister Wendy, Brother Rev, Krista, Tyler, everybody in the chat. It's good to see you rise and shine. I didn't forget you. I just seen you. This is, if you missed it, Brother Eric. He's new to this little season, new to the community. He's over in Rev's Discord on Truth Unfiltered. And he's just been sitting there absorbing knowledge, taking it all in. And I asked for volunteers. He said he wanted to come on. So I was like, all right, sounds good. He's new and he's come from a lot of the same background that we've come from. So I wanted to hear, we, like, I think Paul has mentioned, like, a lot of us forget what it was like coming from there. It's, for me, it's been, I think about 2 years for Little Season Eschatology, and trying to go back to all the way to like when I first started Conspiracies. That's a whole nother story. So, Brother Eric, it's your testimony. Wherever you want to start, we'd love to hear it.
Okay, well, I'll start by saying I got started with the Little Season. I found this whole space through Christopher Gardner's stream, the Biocharisma podcast.
Okay.
And I knew Grady, Crypto Grady. I don't know how he's known in Discord. I'm Sir Lax-a-lot in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
But he was going on and on about conspiracies and all kinds of stuff. And I had heard I think it has Rome in the title. Like all roads lead to Rome was the episode that I heard. And I just had the thought, I'm like, Grady would love this. So I shared it with him, and I've been talking to him, like, praising what he'd been doing, like speaking out against COVID and all the tyranny and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know it might affect him as much as it did. And I'm really happy that it did, because it seems like it's really helped bring him into a nice community and just like, a nice place to fellowship, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's where I first heard about this conspiracy. And I've always been a conspiracy-minded person. Like, growing up, I grew up in Wake County, North Carolina. And this is where I first had, like, a distrust of, like, government and, like, conspiracies might be true. Was our school system was so corrupt, we made it to the Colbert Report as being, like, clownishly just corrupt and awful. And so since then, I kind of just was always skeptical. And then that kind of got me to take, like, I don't want to say take, like, the black pill. Boy, it kind of made me shift a little more nihilistic and just, like, don't trust people, don't do these things, it's about you, it's about self-preservation, almost like a bad, like, self-empowerment, like, because self-empowerment's good, but if you're nihilistic with it, it's not good at all. Like, you're just, doing a lot more damage to yourself. So I was probably community college, doing a lot of drugs, not really connecting with things around me, just aimless. Had some bad experiences. I think looking back on it, I think I saw, like, the devil on, like, a DMT trip, because he's, like, represented by like a dragon, and I felt like there was, like, a dragon following me at one point. And I was sharing that with my friends, and they just, like, wrote it off. It's like, yeah, man, you saw a dragon. Like, we don't give a shit. Can I cuss?
Yeah, I mean, it's a free country.
I'll try
it
not
happens.
to, but...
It's gonna slip. No, it's gonna slip. It's all right.
So anyway, I quickly, after like a year living with those people, we'd been friends for a few years. I was just like, this is not good for me. I gotta kind of get away. So then I kind of left. I got a job that was outside a lot. And I think connecting with nature helps. Because then another thing that really helped me was I started farming. Not like a lot, but like I just started growing things. It was like a passion for a little while. And I think that helps connect you with just making things and just doing stuff and just becoming self-reliant in a positive way. Like, the self-power is now a very positive thing. And then I had to get away from that. Where I was gardening, the person was like, "You can't do that here anymore," and I kept doing it some at like my place, and I had to get a new job. I started working nights, and this is where I started seeing. I mentioned to you in Discord, I started seeing angels, and I didn't know what they were at first because it was little like globes of light. And then when I started reading the Bible, in Genesis, it says you can see angels as like orbs of light, basically. And I got like goose pimples. I was just like, oh, I've been seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had always believed in demons. I just told you that I think I saw the devil. I just didn't know what that was. So I already believed in demons. I then started seeing angels. And I had other paranormal events. Just, you start seeing shadows or ghosts or whatever, right? And I was doing overnight security, and it was, I think it was my second night. I was being trained with someone, and I asked him, just, is this place haunted? Like, half is like a joke. And they were like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts. Ghosts aren't real. You're crazy if you believe in those. I'm like, well, I do believe in those. And then all throughout the night, we were hearing things behind us because we were in kind of like a separate office, and then there was like a hallway. And we were just hearing stuff in like the hallway. And at the end of the shift, she was like, did you hear all that stuff? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, that wasn't normal. And I was like, I wouldn't know. This is my second day. I don't really know what normal is, right? And she just goes, no, trust me. Like, I've been here for like 10 years. That's not normal. And I did forget to mention, she was antagonizing after I brought up the ghost. She started going, if you're a ghost out there, make yourself known. She started just antagonizing. And so that night, I had the weirdest dream. I was in a haunted house, and we were being chased by ghosts. And we got away from the ghosts and blah, blah. And at the end of the dream, I wake up. It's still middle of the night, 3 a.m., whatever, right? And, like, the room felt darker. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt, like, really dark. And I feel like the darkest part of the room, I had the closet open. And I just felt just, like, the darkest, just blacker than the blackest black, just in, like, the corner of the closet. And, like, my head was on the pillow. Like, the second it started going up, there was a lamp by my head. The light flickers. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going back to sleep. Because I was still half asleep. I'm like, if I don't go back to sleep right now, I'm going to be awake all night. Because I was, like, shitting myself. So that was one thing. So I just think, like, paranormal and stuff like that happens all the time. So it was after I lived at that place, I had an apartment. And this is where I think I saw, like, a saint. I mentioned that to you. I was sleeping. I wake up again in the corner of the room. I see this like really tall, like robed figure, and it had like the head of a dog or something. It was some kind of like animal head. And the second I was like, again, kind of pick up my head and like look and like focus on it really hard, it just disappeared. And I think it was 2-3 nights later, same thing happened, same thing, same position. I was like, this is weird. I leave that apartment. I'm staying at a hotel for a little while. Same thing happens in the hotel. I'm like, all right, this is crazy. I don't know what this thing is. And I was following another YouTube channel, and they explained that in ancient Egypt, while they have all those like Anubis statues and like things with like heads of dogs and animals and cats and stuff, is people would have the exact same experiences. Like the second you wake up, you see this thing, you start to focus on it, it just dips. It's just gone. And so they started worshiping it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Grady sends me a video after we'd been communicating for a little while. And in it, it mentions like the powers of the saints. I think it was this channel or something else. I forget, but it was all about the saints. And it specifically said one of the saints, I forget which one exactly, it was one of them or like a couple of them are represented as having heads of dogs.
Yeah, I think it was Saint Christopher. I
Yes,
think is
that
one
one.
of them.
Yeah. And I'm like, that could potentially be a saint.
Mhm.
So I believe in all kinds. Like now that I've seen proof, like I felt it. Like I don't need some guy, some pastor to tell me what to think. I don't need these things. Like I have firsthand experience, and I share it. And if you believe me or not, that's up to you. I don't like. I'm not lying to you. I've also seen like the chupacabra and stuff, and
Yeah.
people like really don't believe that one. But I'm like, dude, they're real. I've seen one. If I had a dash cam, I'd be on National Geographic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the craziest things is like, so in my long journey of conspiracies and coming to the truth, one of the things was looking into Sasquatch and Dogman and things like that. And I was like, man, there's no way that every civilization, every culture has a story about these dog-headed men. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
You telling me it's made up? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That everybody made up the same thing, especially with the narrative that we've been separated as continents for 10,000 years. It's like, well, does it make sense that people in Australia came up with the same story as people in America? And that the people are still having these dreams. I've had a Bigfoot experience. I haven't had a Dogman experience yet, but it's crazy because you say you thought it was a saint. Most stories, it sounds like a demonic thing. So you weren't afraid when you saw this creature, this possibly a saint. There was no fear, nothing like that. Because normally when you hear those stories, there's like an overwhelming fear that freezes people, then they can't even move. But it doesn't sound like that was the case for you, was it?
No, it wasn't like a sleep paralysis demon or whatever. Because like I said, I picked my head up and looked at it, and then it just vanished, and I was just like, like that thing in the closet that I was explaining, that was like antagonized. Like that
Mm-hmm.
felt to me that felt scary. And then like when I
Yeah.
see like the Dogman thing, I was more just like, what the fuck was that? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
It's more just like it more just made me want to figure it out. It didn't make me like, okay, I need to go back to sleep or else I'm terrified. It was more just like that's a whole different can of worms.
yeah,
I don't know.
that's
I just
that's
didn't
crazy.
feel scared. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, you've experienced other things that were frightening. I mean, no matter how tough you are, some ghost experiences, man, there you can't explain them. I mean, I had a big one in my house, and I thought I was gonna be Billy Badass walking in and clearing it, and when I came back the second time, and everything in all the doors, all the cabinets, everything in my house was open, and I was like, "What is going on?" And then I did what I was supposed to do, which was, or what they tell you to do, announce yourself as the boss and to tell it to leave. And so, I wasn't a Christian, or I wasn't with Christ then. So I was doing it from like a spiritual, I guess, type of way. And that thing growled like nothing I had ever heard before. And it just sent goosebumps up my back of my neck. Hair was standing up. It was just the wildest thing. And I was, I think I'm pretty tough. So yeah, like the fact that you weren't scared or you weren't afraid, there was nothing for it being evil. I mean, that's like don't think I've ever heard, and I've listened to a lot of stories about paranormal experiences. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they thought it was a saint. And that like totally, now I have to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I didn't like I said, I didn't come to that conclusion until I heard how Saint Christopher was depicted. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, that makes a lot of sense because also in that video it said it used to be a lot more widespread. The saints, people would see him and they could worship him more and all that stuff. And since we're so detached from it that if you do see something like that, you probably are gonna be scared instead of
Mhm.
just curious.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
you're
like
told
like
ghosts aren't real.
well, I already knew ghosts were, so it was more just like that's not a ghost, that's something else. Like
Mhm.
that like I said, that's just a totally different thing. But again, I do trust like my internal now that I've kind of turned to whatever, just the goodness or whatever you want to call it, Jesus or people call it all kinds of stuff. Um, I just trust my internal feelings, like you just said, like were you scared? No, like not at all. Like nothing told me to be scared. It was more curious, which again I think is more part of the plan because I wasn't really Christian when that happened. I was still spiritual, believing in stuff, but like aimless, you could say.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, that's you actually made me think about like why wasn't I scared? I think it just made me curious to keep pursuing what everything is, and that's just the path for some people.
Yep. Yep. And I was saying in our chat, that's how a lot of us came to it. We experienced something that was kind of small, and it takes you down a rabbit hole. And all search for truth leads to Jesus Christ, the
It
truth.
does, yeah. No, it just
Yeah.
leads to God. It just leads to what like, and everyone that does it always comes to the same conclusion.
Hmm.
Like everyone, or else they just give up and because like what we were just talking about, you do have free will, and you can just at any point turn away and just be like, you know what, I don't want to accept, and that's up to you. But like I'm not gonna turn my back on what I know is real. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't feel like a ridiculous person, but some people
Yeah.
might consider me ridiculous, and that's fine. I'm a bit of an oddball. I mean, I'm like a conspiracy theorist. So I mean, if I hear a wacky conspiracy, I'm game. Like I'll give it a fair shake, which is
Yeah.
also
Well,
how I got to this point.
yeah, and that's a big thing for us. I mean, you talk to like a regular Christian and you tell them some kind of conspiracy and they just write you off as a nut job because they're like, oh, conspiracies, those aren't real. And you're like, well, you kind of believe in a book that is all about conspiracies, that Satan conspired against God in the very beginning and he took a third of the angels with him.
I was
It's
talking to Grady about this. We live in a very contradictory society.
yeah.
Like everyone is so full of like that's one thing that I've tried to clean up out of my life is contradictions. And I feel that I heard somebody say something really great. They summed it up as the dark enlightenment. And I'm like, how is something being enlightened with darkness? And it's a contradiction and it sums it up perfectly. Like we're in like a dark enlightenment or like a little season or whatever you want to call it where it's just there's a contradiction. It's causing people dementia and to act crazy and to just be strange and like not in like a funny like kind of silly way, but in like a dangerous like harmful way.
Yeah, and it's a way that people they don't really know what's happening when it's happening. It gets written off as schizophrenia or paranoia, sleep paralysis, ghosts. It's everything but what it is. Just to
Yeah,
keep you away from the truth, and they don't want you searching for it. That's for sure. And
yeah. I don't know what's in control of whoever's in control of whatever, but yeah, no,
yeah,
they definitely they're definitely tuned in and know how to get people to just tune out.
yeah. Well, like like Shed Red said, it's demons, bro. Brian's big his quote. It's demons, bro. It is.
Yeah,
And
no,
I mean, and well, you were saying like because of how Christians are, it kind of turns you away from Christianity, right?
it
I mean,
does.
when I've talked to Christians and told them, hey, my sons have seen angels and demons because my older son, he's been taken out of his body, astral projected, and twice now involuntarily, and the first time it was uh, it was an alien deception. So he was like, "Oh, I went to an alien spaceship," and he gave me all the details. It was a fascinating story. And I hadn't come back to Christ yet, so I was kind of in the belief that it was aliens because I was big into aliens. If you can't tell, and then the second time it happened, it was maybe 2 or 3 years after the first time, and I had come back to Christ, and he was, I think, 12 years old. And I said, "What did you see this time?" And he was describing what he had saw, and I was like, "Well, those are demons, buddy." I was like, "That's what you saw." I was like, "And when you see those, you need to pray." And he goes, "Oh, I did pray." And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, I had two angels show up behind me and they put their hands on my shoulders." And I was like, "That's pretty cool." And he went on telling me the story. And then I tell Christians that and they look at me funny. And I'm like, do you guys don't know about the powers that we wrestle with? We wrestle
Yeah,
not against flesh and blood.
you not read the book that you claim to read? Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had this conversation with this one guy. He's a full preterist, but he doesn't believe there's a Satan. He doesn't believe there's demons. And I'm like, well, if there's not, then what was Jesus casting out of people? Like, even if you don't believe they aren't now, if how do you believe they never were when Jesus was literally casting out devils and he told his disciples to cast out devils and they did? I'm like, well, you can't ignore all of that. You can't write that into some symbolic language or anything. And then the same thing, you go to churches and you don't see that kind of deliverance. People get turned away when they come in with those kinds of issues. Like I've had at my last job, I had a dude, he was on drugs, which most people know if you're doing some kind of brain altering drugs, it's usually demons, bro. And this guy was chasing after a woman where I was working, and without even thinking, just like, and I didn't even, for whatever reason, I didn't even use Jesus's name. I should have, but when I told him to stop and to leave, he like looked at me and just froze. And I didn't think about it at the time, and then think about it afterward. I was like, man, I think that was Holy Spirit working, not me. Yeah, I said it, but it was with Christ's power. I didn't even have to say his name. It knew and it stopped because he was doing this for a minute, and other people were yelling at him, telling him to stop. He was not listening. And when he came to me and I said to stop, he stopped. And I was like, that, even without me having to say Jesus's name, is the power of Jesus. And Christians don't even, they don't acknowledge that kind of stuff. And that, like it happened with you, it turns people away because they're like, well, I have experienced things that I know are real. And the world does not give you answers for it, but the Bible does. The Bible tells you where these ghosts come from, and they tell you where some of these other, what we call them, animal human hybrids, dog-headed men come from. And I'm sure everybody's probably heard Brian's stream talking about the Canaanites and the connection with the canines, and I was like, that was mind-blowing to me. I don't know if I believe gorillas or descendants of Nephilims because I love gorillas, so I hope not. I'll reject that. But tell us how were you viewing Christianity? How was it kind of off-putting before you came to Christ?
it felt like a social club for people I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was people that would go along to get along. And as like a conspiracy theorist and somebody that believed in like sort of like a self-empowerment, like I was saying, but sort of negative,
Yeah.
that conformity and the just going along to get along attitude, I hated. I was just like, I can't do it. I'm not gonna. I wasn't gonna say I believed in something I couldn't believe in to make other people like me, and that's how I felt people were acting. Because I would see like Christians acting unchristianly, all contradictions and blah blah blah, and just being kind of like shitty people. And I'm just like, why would I pretend to be likable to be liked by you?
Hmm.
So I just viewed them as kind of like that, like just really sinful. But like we're all sinful, and I was being judgy, but I still view a lot of Christians as just going along to get along. Just
Yeah.
treating it as like a social club and not actually believing in the stranger aspects of whatever realm we live in
Yeah,
that
that's
are
for sure.
clearly true. So
Yeah.
I just kind of couldn't get down with that. And now that I've grown up and I've talked to you guys or have met other people with similar experiences or whatever, it's good to just find your tribe. And just if you hear that sect or church or whatever they want to call themselves going off about whatever, and you're just like, I'm not gonna vibe with that, that's fine. Like that's perfect. So
Yeah.
I don't think I've matured and they've continued.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I still do. I think I might be maybe not one of the few, or I don't think I'm rare in the community, but I do still go to church. I like to have that fellowship, and I do spread little season eschatology while I'm there when I can. But and I take my kids there, so they're around other good kids, and they're hearing about Jesus and they're learning. And then I tell them when we get back, "What did you guys learn?" And sometimes they miss some of the things. They don't teach you, like for instance, David and Goliath. They don't teach you why David cut off Goliath's head. And I tell my kids, I said, I'll tell you why. Because if you look at some of the supernatural lore about giants, they had this ability to heal from almost any injury except cutting off their head, which makes total logical sense now that when you look at that and then you read the Bible, you're like, that makes sense, but we're not taught that. Even giants are all over the Bible, but when you talk to a Christian about it, it's like in one ear, not the other. They think it was a rare story, David and Goliath. And it's like, no, dude, there were tribes of giants, tall giants, hundreds of feet. It's crazy.
I'm 5'6", so I mean the NBA is like a tribe of giants to me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, and listening to this community, being a part of this community, it's totally different. It is. I grew up in church. My church was also my school, so I was in it Sunday through Friday, and then Saturdays. I think we actually had Spanish church, which my dad, he was an assistant pastor for that. So I would just go, even though I didn't speak Spanish, I would just go. But it was there, and like you're right, I saw the same thing, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I became a prodigal son. I was seeing the Christians that would say one thing to me, and then they would live another way, or they would treat somebody else who was doing something else better or differently, and I'm like, well, that's not how it should be, and yeah, it's kind of it's kind of their own fault, that some people don't want to turn to Christ. It's because of how they perceive those people, and I think, I mean, we have a few very, very rare people in our community that, are like that. But for the most part, the people we talk to, the people in this community, they're genuine and true. Like, they say what they mean. They live what they mean. If Jesus says it, we believe it. If he wants us to do something, we follow it to the best of our abilities. And it's beautiful, honestly. It's beautiful. It's motivational. And
well, that is one thing. Like, when before coming to God and Christ, like, I didn't get told things. Like, you've been told things, and like I've also been just like told things and just listened. And like I heard somebody sum it up well. It's like a gentle push, and you just kind of just do it, and then everything goes well. Like, if that hasn't happened to you, like, that sounds crazy. But when it does happen, it's a great thing that happens. It feels really good.
Yeah. So what was your upbringing? Were you born, or I should say born into, but were you raised in a religious household, or mostly agnostic or atheist, anything like that?
My parents split up. Before they split up, we went to a Catholic church. After they split up, my mom remarried. Then we went to a Southern Baptist church. And then when I was about 10 or 11, we didn't go to church anymore. Now, my mom goes to church. She's the one that goes to church. She found oh God, what are they called? Okay, well, she found a church. It isn't Baptist. It's some sect of baptism. Here in the South, baptism is big, right? So it's
Anabaptist.
Oh man, I'm blanking on the name. But
they've got that one name, the Independent Fundamental Bible Believing Baptist.
I don't think it. I don't. I don't remember, but it's a church in Durham, North Carolina, and I've been a few times, and I don't know, like. I like the term, like, where like one or two gather in my name, or two or more gather in my name, like there's fellowship. That's more what I believe. Like, you can just do it anywhere. Like, I don't have to go. Like, I don't like that people would treat it like a social club and not as like a way to personally connect to like everything and God and like whatever. But I mean, maybe the social element to me, I'm not a super sociable person. Like, I can be sociable, but it's not like my main drive. So it's just, I'm more just looking for like my personal connection. and just it almost sounds selfish, but it's to not be selfish. It is more to connect with what is good for me and what is good for everyone else. So I don't have to find a church. I don't feel that I like need to. If I ever like feel that, I'll try and find one. But like this fellowship is perfectly fine with me. Do it in Discord and talk to you guys, and just have nice back and forth with all y'all is perfect with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in this community, I kind of wonder how often do the people that go to church actually talk to each other besides Sundays and Wednesdays, Like, so the pastor of the church I go to out in Austin, he texts, he'll send like group texts out to people, and usually just Bible verses, motivational. But I mean, I don't know if he sends it to just like if he's got different groups, but I usually get a text maybe once or twice a week with just like a Bible verse here or there. But this community, like you talk to everybody almost every day is talking to them, and if
Yeah,
it's
you
not
can.
everybody, it's one person that you might talk to
Yeah,
more.
you can always read it's what somebody posted or share whatever you want. Yeah, no, like to me that's perfect. Like you can get it 24/7.
Yeah.
It's because it is 24/7. It was like with like my upbringing, it just isn't the most important thing to me. And maybe it is because I mean I've heard people say like I'll use it to find like a wife or girlfriend, and I'm like, to me that feels like I just said, like that's not the purpose of it. Like the purpose is to connect with everyone, not just like find my partner. But I don't think it's a bad place to look. I'm just saying I feel like that's the wrong attitude for it.
Yeah.
Because like you're gonna listen to some like dark shit and like
Well, I
really
mean,
bad situations, and it just isn't like always the most loving atmosphere, But like
yeah.
you take a date to a horror movie too sometimes, so it's like that's fine.
Yeah,
It's just
not everybody that goes to church though has good intentions, like you were saying.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
So
no,
don't go in there to try to find that a specific person is. I mean, I started. I shouldn't say I started. It was a thought before I went back to church. I was like, man, I'm gonna go to church to find me a good Christian woman. And I was like, well, I don't need to go to church to find a woman because God's gonna provide her for me when it's time. I do go to church, like I said, for that fellowship, for that face-to-face fellowship, because even though, I don't think anybody in my church believes in little season eschatology, there are a couple flat earthers in there that are, I think they're undercover, but I have heard, and I know it is confirmed. I mean, even the pastor he's geocentric. I was like, well, man, at least you're closer to the truth of God than a heliocentric pastor,
It, I actually do this thing where like if somebody's talking to me about like flat earth or something, like I believe in like the flat earth or like just not like a globe or like whatever they're saying, but like I'll almost it's like a ghost. I'll like antagonize them just to see that like conspiracy theorists like spurg out where they're just like, no, I'm telling you it's not, and just like watch them, and like they'll make like two or three good points before then I butt in with like another point, and then I'm just like, I was just fucking with you, I'm on the same page with you. But like it's always fun to just kind of like goad like somebody and just like make them like really believe it,
It's good to see. Yeah, it's good to see people's convictions and how serious they are about it. I mean, I've had a guy bring up, I know it was gonna rain, and I was like, "Man, you got to work out in the rain." He was like, "It's gonna rain." I was like, "Well, it looks like it, smells like it," and he was like, "Oh, I guess we're getting rain underneath the dome." And I was like, "You can't just be telling everybody that it's flat. They're gonna think you're crazy." And he like kind of looked at me, was like surprised that I believed it was flat, or at least that we lived under a dome. But once you hear a dome, you like, even surprise, surprise, Ed Mabry said it. He said a firmament works a lot better on a flat plane than it does on a globe. I was like, well, you're getting there, Ed. Next you'll come to Little Season. But
That's one thing. That's one thing about the crypto community. Me and Grady were coming from. There was a Discord, and in like the crypto community, it's always to the moon. That's like the phrase of like it's going up, like the prices actions going up.
mm-hmm.
And whenever someone's saying like we're going to the moon, I would always go, "How are you getting past the firmament?" And it would trigger so many people to be like, just either believe it or like not. And it was really funny. Because some people didn't
Yeah.
even know what the firmament was. They were like, what's the firmament? And I'm just like, just look into it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
It's just fun to drop stuff like that on people.
yeah, it's I mean, well, and those things is planting seeds, right? Like I had, I talk about my coworker who I was talking to about Little Season, and I started planting seeds with Giants. And like next thing I know, every time we're on lunch, I hear him watching YouTube videos about Giants, and he's sending me stuff. And usually everything he sent me, I've already seen, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I was on the Giants topic for a long time. But he was blowing his mind because it was like, dude, there's so much evidence. He was like, and he would ask me, why don't we know about this? And I'm like, yeah, that's the question, man. Those are the questions you need to ask. And when you're asking those questions, seeking the truth, like Father is gonna reveal them to you,
I
and
was, you mentioned it that you were in the military, but I did security work. I wasn't, I did like armed security work. So a lot of my coworkers were, and some of them were in Afghanistan and Iraq. And they confirmed that like they saw giants, like the giants
Mhm.
of Gandahar or whatever. They're like, no, like those are real. Like there's like giants out in the desert. And I was like, I believe it. Like after I saw all the things I think, like I just believe stuff. Maybe I'm gullible, but like I definitely think giants are real.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
no, there's too much evidence, too much for that. I got kicked off of Instagram for saying the Smithsonian hides giant bones. That was the final straw. I kept getting muted or warned for mentioning giant bones being hidden. And then when I said Smithsonian and hiding giant bones, they were like, "You're done." They cut me off, and I was like, "Oh, whatever." It's probably for the best. It was taking up too much of my time, anyways. But I mean, it's crazy because it's like it's out there. The stories about dog-headed men are out there. Everybody's got stories, and it's like, man, there's just too much. Like for me, it doesn't make any logical sense that everybody is coming up with the same stories for no gain. Like there's nobody super famous for, you know, I saw Bigfoot. There's a couple shows, but most of those shows are people that get made fun of. It's like, who wants to be that made fun of person? And most people know, like, it's not real, right? Like they're never gonna find Bigfoot. It's just a show finding Bigfoot. You're never actually gonna find him because then the show is over. It's found Bigfoot, So it's like, but everybody else, there's millions of people that have all seen and experienced these things. None of them will get famous, but they will all tell you their story and they'll stay true to it. And there's no benefits, no clause, like just no reason, and
oh,
it just
I've
doesn't make any
seen,
sense.
I've seen one thing no one's talked about.
What's that?
I'm not even sure what it was. I think it was a mantis,
Hmm.
like a praying mantis, but it
Mm-hmm.
was like literally the size of like a lazy boy recliner, and it was flying at me. I was
Interesting.
driving, I was driving from, I was in Nevada. If you drive all the way up East Nevada, there's one highway that just goes straight up through to like Idaho, and it was right at, I crossed the border right into Idaho, and this giant, it was like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, pitch black outside, just middle of nowhere, and this giant thing came flying right at my head, like at my windshield. It like almost hits me and it just flies off. And I'm telling you, it was like the size of like a recliner. And I was
Hmm.
like, what was that thing? And then I made it to Boise, and I was walking around this shopping center plaza, and I tell you, there's a thing about yay big. I thought it was like a really big bird flies and lands in front of me, and I was like, is that like a dove? Like it was white. It was about that big. It like turned. It was a praying mantis this big, and I was like, I didn't know they could get that big. And then it kind of hit me that like that thing flying at me, it kind of looked like a praying mantis. Like it looked like a big bug. It didn't look like a bird. It looked like a giant bug. And then like the weed industry out west,
Yeah.
they had what they had to do was they were getting aphids. So when you get aphids, I had aphids inside. You get ladybugs.
Yeah.
And then when you get too many ladybugs, you have to get something to get rid of the ladybugs. So they got praying mantises. And then they had a praying mantis problem, and now they don't know what to do with all the praying mantises. So I think there's just there might be more accounts of just giant praying mantises soon. But
Well,
no, I've never heard anyone say that before, and I'm like the only one I feel like has seen something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've listened to a lot of stories. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that, but I do know a lot of crazy stuff happens up in that part of the United States, up in Idaho, Arizona. I mean, Arizona's got the big Wendy should know this, that movie about Fire in the Sky. It's right up there in Sholo, an alien abduction. It's real popular up there, a bunch of witnesses. And so, but, I've got a friend up in, I think she's in Idaho. Maybe, no, I think she's in Utah. And she told me she's been attacked by a pterodactyl, an actual like a dinosaur, and that there were multiple witnesses. And when she called the cops to report it, they told her, they told her they couldn't do anything about it, and just to let it go.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What do you mean you can't do anything about it?" And she's like, they told her that they were told just to stand down and to leave it alone. They couldn't do anything about it. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Just a pterodactyl.
Yeah, like this is like common knowledge out there, I guess, that people know it. But I'm like, how does that not make I mean, I know how it doesn't make countrywide news, but I'm like what? That's insane that there's these kinds of things are happening and nobody's really talking about it. And it's not, again, some of it's not really that hidden knowledge, it's like, man, it's just, again, but it all just points, like when you start searching for all these things, it's all the deception in this season, and it's like, well, you keep following and asking those questions, it's going to lead you back to the truth, the way, and the life. And then you're gonna, when you learn that you can take all of those things very literally because you've experienced them or you've witnessed them, then you start taking like biblical cosmology seriously, and then you start taking Jesus's end days prophecies seriously, and then you get to where we are, and that's little season eschatology, waiting for Gog and Magog, and preaching the good news of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, to everyone in between. So it's fun though, because those are seeds that we can plant, and then some people might not come to little season eschatology straight from, they need a little motivation. Like, yes, Brother Sebastian and I, there's a lady in one of the Telegram chats, and she keeps sharing all these old world technology, Tartaria stuff, and she's like, oh, we've been lied to so much. And we're like, yeah, dude, this is the little season. And she's like, no, it's not. It's like, oh, lady, you're so close. Just keep asking why. Keep asking why. Why are they doing these things? Why are they hiding this technology? Why are they doing? Why is there all this deception? Keep asking. And if you're earnestly, honestly asking, it's gonna be revealed to you. And so it takes patience. We got to have a lot of patience. And your story of seeing how Christians were and how they acted and how it turned you away from it is all the more reason and motivation for us to be bearers of the truth, shine bright with Christ's light, and to produce and have good fruits, that when people are looking in from the outside, they're not seeing all of the infighting. They're not seeing all of these quarrels. Like, yes, we've all come from a bunch of different denominations. We all have different ideas, but we all stand on one truth, and that's Jesus Christ. And from there, it's like, okay, well, we can discuss everything else. We don't have to fight. We don't have to have it cause a separation. We don't have to have it cause division. It's like, okay, well, these people are different, and that's what we're supposed to be. And that's what Jesus tells his disciples, that they'll know you because you love one another. That's how they'll know you're my disciples. And you don't see that. You don't see that in a lot of the churches. It's so sad to say and so sad to see. But
yeah, like I was saying, it's still treated more like a social club, and that's okay. Like it's more to connect with people, but it's like, are all of you trying to connect to God, or are you only trying to connect with materialism and each other and all that sort of stuff, where it's just I have my priorities, and to me, that's just not my priority here,
Yeah.
and that's not going to change. But back to like, I do want to say like check out the Biocharisma podcast. There's a lot of he does have like different Christians like
Mhm.
people that believe more in like the mystical side of stuff, and that's where I'm coming from because after what's turned me to it, I just believe in the magic and the mystical, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just the awe-inspiring nature of what is reality. Because people don't want to believe that reality is as crazy as it is, but it really is. It's crazier than fiction. Like, because you're saying like, how do people make this up? They don't. It just happens. Like it's nonfiction. Like it's absolutely true.
Yeah. Yep. And that's, a part of the deception is for them to tell us it's just mythology. It's just made up stories. It's like that, especially I don't get how Christians can get to those kind of conclusions when you read the Bible and you're like, dude, have you seen a wheel inside of a wheel and these crazy examples of like what, how do you get to this conclusion that you don't believe any of that stuff, And it's crazy, It's hard to see it now, though. Now that we do see it, it's hard to see how people don't see it because it's so obvious and clear to us. It's like, don't you see
Yeah, but they've
unification?
never seen it. But they've never seen it, so it's like that woman that was antagonizing the ghost. I've never seen one, and she starts yelling at it, and I'm like, no, I've seen them. Like, don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
you're gonna piss them off. But like, it's it's that first. It's I don't know if your kids ever tried to like touch fire, and you're like, don't do that. It's hot, and they just keep trying to touch it. Like until they touch it, they don't know. They won't feel it.
yeah, yeah. I think Paul or JT was on Biocharisma.
Yeah, it was Paul. I think that
Yeah.
was it was all roads lead to Rome. It is what opened me up to the little season.
Hmm.
And yeah, no, that's a really good podcast. I mean, even just for like health and well being. Like I just I it's where I come from, and like you could hear the mystical Christianity and be like, oh, I vibe with that too. Like holistic things. I'm like into holistic medicine and stuff. I actually live in a van. And if you guys ever want like pest control tips, like I can give you some pest control tips. I was getting a ton of ants, and I have this oil diffuser. If you just use like lemongrass and eucalyptus and stuff, they
Hmm.
hate that. Like
Yeah.
just diffuse some oil into the air, make some sense. Now it smells amazing in here, and I don't have ants. And just like it's just like little things like that, or like plant some citronella if you have mosquitoes. Like it seems simple, but it's like it's part of like the realm. Like it's part of connecting to nature. It's part of like you know fixing your problem just with the things that are around you. And I feel like a lot of Christians overlook that too, where they're like, I need poison, I need to kill this thing with. And it's like you don't. You could just make it go that way. Like if you have mice, dude, just mow your lawn. Like take care of your yard. Like it's all like every problem is super fixable. It's all like within you just to fix it. And people are super lazy now.
Yep. That's the sad truth. Yeah, I love the fact that we got Sister Trish in the Discord that she has all kinds of awesome tips and tricks for natural medicines, and everybody. I think even hearing some of it, and I won't mention her by name until I find out for sure she wants to be mentioned by name for what she's going through. But one of our awesome sisters who's going through a really hard time. It's awesome to see that their faith is in God and not in men when it comes to fixing those issues. And they're doing things, based off of how we're told to heal. And I'm like, man, it's so awesome and so motivational.
It really is. And it's super. And then once you fix something, you get that confidence. You feel connected. Just like give praise, and then it just gets fixed. It's great. It's really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I'll
Well, and
say
it's
that.
also a part of a good of our testimony, right? Because when so for example, I have a good friend of mine who's not a Christian, and I've talked to him about Christ, especially since he knew me before I came to Christ, and now he knows me after. And he's recently come to me and said, "Hey, I've got some knee issues." And he was a medic in the army too. It's just so funny he comes to me because he knows I'm more of a natural guy, and he doesn't want to do the pharmakia. And so he asked me like, what would I use for joint issues and this or that? I said, well, for one, you need to lose a little bit of weight. He's a big country guy. He could lose 10 to 15, maybe 20 pounds. But I was like, do a 4-day fast, water only. I sent him the link for Modern Roots Life, for Josh's Modern Root Life's detox. I said, here, I was like, this is a 30-day supply of this. Drink this at night before you go to bed. Start with a 4-day fast and let your body recover, let your body heal. And I wanted to use this as as a seed planted to bringing him to Christ. Because if he asked, like, how did I know? Well, Jesus told us. He told us what to do and how to do it. He was the example. He did it. And I was like, and it wasn't just, for woos and wahs. Like, there were really reasons that he told them to do certain things, not to eat certain foods. And I have a friend who, the same person that was attacked by a pterodactyl, actually, she's like, yeah, I've seen witches in the stores putting curses over meats, and she's heard about like the things they do with pork and how they feed pigs, and a lot of stuff that if you heard it, you're like, ooh, I don't want to eat that either. But those
Yeah,
those kinds of experiences we have, they're awesome because we can use them as a testimony to bring people to Christ who have had those same experiences.
yeah. My diet is. I like pork. What can I say? I'm from the South. We have barbecue. It's hard to stay away, you know.
Yeah.
But I could always do better. But I mean, it's just one of those sins that's just so good.
Well, I don't want to
It's just
consider it a sin. I mean, Paul talks about not letting anything, what goes in doesn't defile a man. It's what comes out that defiles a man, and to pray over all of your food. So I think it's kind of a personal preference. But if you're praying over your food, I really don't think you'll have an issue with it if you got faith in
so,
Jesus. I mean,
some people do. I mean, there are some like you got to be vegetarian or you're stupid kind of people, and it's just like, well, dude, I'm not even giving up pork. Like, I don't know how you feel about that, but like every time I get a cheeseburger, I'm like, can you put bacon on that for me? Like, I just love bacon on cheeseburgers. But I
no,
did
bacon
do I
is
did
good.
do a 3-day fast once, so but I love bacon. On I don't actually like bacon. I just like it as a topping. Like it's just the best cheeseburger topping. Just that with some cheese and like beef is just so good.
Hmm. Yeah,
So I need to do a little better. But hey, like I said, I sin sometimes, and we all do. And if that's my if like bacon is like my guilty pleasure to like those people, then I'm doing great. I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also too. I know a lot of people will bring, they'll say, if, especially I think Brian's talked about it. It's what you're convicted of by the Holy Spirit, what He convicts you of, and so, you know, I can't be the one to judge. Or Connor says Hitler was a vegetarian. Welcome in, brother Connor. I'm not. I'm definitely not a vegetarian. I'm a carnivore. That's mostly my diet, anyways. but but yeah. Now I forgot what I was saying. Thanks for that, Connor. That was worth it. uh oh man, it's good to see everybody in the chat. It really is. But
But
I
yeah,
think we're getting
the,
close.
the, the
Oh, you
three
want to
day
add?
fast for me, the 3-day fast for me was about my limit. I was getting dizzy. I was just like, all right, I've done it. So I just started eating again. But me, I can do more someday. I don't know. I'm open to it.
Well, I'm going to tell you what though. When I think there's a lot of, not a lot of tricks, but there's a lot of good reasons for fasting, and I think one of them is relying on God. I've only done a 4-day fast. It's the longest I've done, and I'm somebody who before was very hangry. If I didn't eat lunch, I would get mad, especially when I quit smoking cigarettes. That was one of my vices to calm down. But once I quit smoking cigarettes, if I was not eating, oh, I was getting angry, and so when I did do a fast, I was like, man, I have to pray a lot, and he'll answer. You pray and ask Lord, hey, take these hunger pains away. I'm resting. I'm resting and putting everything in you, Lord. I mean, yeah, he will without a doubt help you and guide you through all of that. But anything else you'd like to say, brother? I think we're coming up on closing time. I don't want to keep everybody too late. I know we got Brother Rev, I think, is going live here in about 50 minutes. So
Yeah,
any
we've
closing thoughts?
done an hour. If you don't have any more questions right now, I mean, we could do this again. I don't care. You know, if I was entertained to everyone, that's good. But or
Well, I
I
mean,
inspired, entertained, or I don't know.
yeah,
I mean,
well,
I don't have too much input. I've given my testimony the best way I could. Yeah, no, I'm
no,
happy with.
it's great to hear. I mean, we all start somewhere. We're all on this journey together, and so it's encouraging to hear how you came to Christ and how you're progressing in your walk with Him and how you're learning and how everything's going. It's a blessing, and the heavens rejoice when one person comes to Christ. So we're all the same. We're there with you when when you you know when you've come to Christ. Heaven was rejoicing. Now we're all hearing your testimony about how you came to Christ. We're all rejoicing with you. We're all happy. We love you. We're glad you're part of our community.
And
And
I'm glad I already brought Grady in. If I can bring other people, I'm happy to do so as well. I definitely want people to like who are like you or me and not happy with Christianity overall as it's portrayed or how you view it. You can find some people that are happier to just like welcome you in and be happy with your different perspective.
mhm,
Then that's definitely the best thing
yeah, for
for
sure.
everyone, for society, for everyone to just be like, so it's not what that greedy private jet flying guy is saying, and you can be like, no, he could be lying to you for money, and
Yep.
it's okay to say that. Yeah, like it's perfectly okay to believe that, and still be Christian, and still, be part of a fellowship.
Yeah,
That's perfect. Yeah.
for sure. Well, I want to say thank you all. I'll try to get a quick shout out. If you guys missed in the beginning, I apologize for the last couple of shows because I hadn't acknowledged or talked to the chat, and I was saying earlier in the beginning of this show that I wanted to be respectful to the guests and talk to them and not be too distracted by what's going on over here. But I see you guys are all in here, and there's new people like Brother Matt Pax and Brother Grady, Brother Cult of Khan. Let's see, Brother Alan Robert, Miss Chris M, Chris T. Good to see everybody. I'm glad you guys were in. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. So much.
I
Y'all
am
don't
too.
even know. So you don't even know. This is it's life change in this community for sure. I mean, once you come to Christ, he's obviously the greatest life changer. But then you realize and see like what real honest, true followers of Christ, what we're supposed to be like and how we're actually acting versus like you said, how some Christians they just go to church because they're supposed to. It's just their club.
Well,
It's
it's the same behavior, just going along to get along, and I've
yeah,
always hated that. You see it in social club, you just see it in like everywhere, and it's just like that's what you do to be social. That's not what you do
mhm,
to just connect with the creator. Like it just to me, it just isn't. Like I said, I never liked that.
yeah, yep, for sure. Well, brother Eric, I will talk to you in the chat. You're on Discord. If you guys aren't in Discord, I recognize most of y'all. Most of y'all are in Discord already. So don't be shy. Hit up, brother Eric. Help him in his walk. Some of you more seasoned folks, you guys can help
Yeah,
help the newer guys. Teach them,
I didn't
guide
know
them.
if you
It's
say
good.
it. I told Miles I haven't actually finished reading the Bible, and I'm
Yeah.
still like I just listen to a lot of people. Like now, I listen to a lot of people break it down. So I'm not gonna say like I don't know anything about it, but like if you guys want to share, you know, scripture with me, that's cool. Like like what's your favorite? You know, I
Yeah.
it's cool with me.
Yeah, for sure. Brother Tyler, I see you. Much love, Brother Tyler. Prayers up for you too, brother, for you and your family. So we will see you guys next Tuesday if everything works out. Well, I noticed if you guys notice, look how clear I look. You guys can see me and how ugly I am in HD now. Thank the Lord for that. But we will see you guys next time. Much love, y'all, and God bless.
Bright skies. With Christ we stand, rising as one. Stories of redemption in the power of the sun. Every step, every mile, held in His hand. Together forever, with Christ we stand. The remnant is speaking, the Spirit is near. Every voice has a story the world needs to hear.